Good afternoon. Welcome to KWSM Facebook Live. We're here to prove a faulty tripod will not hold us back. I'm Jeff Soto.
I'm Olivia Riley.
I'm Ivana Hermida.
Welcome. How you doing today? We appreciate you tuning in, as we do everybody. We get a lot of good feedback from our Facebook Lives, whether you watch us in real time or watch us on our Facebook feed later, so thank you very much. I think we're going to jump right into it. We noticed a change today. Instagram made a change. They removed the ability to see what your followers are doing on Instagram. So if you're a little creeper and you like to see, you can no longer do that. All right, let's open. This was a very lively discussion this morning for us. I don't know, let's kick it around.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed first.
She did.
Every time I go on Instagram, I do the same exact thing. I check my feed and then I go check the following feed. And I went to scroll and nothing was there. And I was like, everyone, what's going on? So, yeah, I mean, I just think it's interesting. I'm wondering why, because I didn't hear any announcement before they were going to do this or anything like that. Right after I noticed and I told everyone else about it, I went and looked it up and everyone's talking about it now. But I was surprised they didn't even give us some sort of warning or anything.
Yeah, I think it's interesting stuff. That is a very popular place to kind of hide on Instagram, is to go into that little corner of the platform and see what your followers are up to. So I'm pretty sure it's caused a lot of commotion because it is a hot topic subject.
Well, and we talked about it first on a personal level because if you use social media and you like to keep tabs on people, that was one place where you could do it and see what your followers or closer relationships were doing on Instagram. Not that it's a bad place, but it was a place to see activity. But I think the bigger picture is kind of businesses also could leverage that channel.
Definitely. I think at least, for my clients, that was a good place where I could network and I could see where the people that I'm following, who they're following, who they're engaging with, and I can see if I can engage with those accounts as well. So that was kind of a downside as far as on a business side.
Yeah, it's definitely a place where it doesn't just have a creeper element to it, but it definitely has an element for you to broaden your network and reach potential brands that you could either collaborate with, or brands or people or individuals that could be following you, that you could tap into new customer networks, new influencers if you're interested in finding partnerships on Instagram. So it's not just a loss for people in their personal lives, but for brands that like to use and leverage the platform and its networking capabilities and its customer service capabilities. It definitely now also kind of impacts that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I also think, even on that activity feed, you could see if someone was following a hashtag or something. So it's not just about the people. I think that's really important because, we use hashtags all the time on Instagram. That's a good way to find people in your industry, figure out what they're talking about, things like that, so.
Well, and following the hashtags is such a big practice for us and for our clients. I
follow them on my personal too.
Yeah, I do as well. And again, Olivia, you brought up a good point that you find influencers this way, and we all know that there are brands out there that can post and they'll get 1 million likes, but what does that necessarily mean if people aren't engaging or truly engaging? And so where are people having conversations? Where are the mutual connections? And I think that area did offer up the ability to see, if your brand was following, you had followers and you were able to look at what they were doing, you could pick up a new hashtag, you could pick up a new influencer, and you could kind of work in circles that way to make sure that you're dealing with authentic people, because there is a challenge there with making sure that your connections are authentic. And it seems like, obviously Facebook owns Instagram. They're kind of pulling back these layers to hide, I don't know if hide's the right word, but really try to keep it isolated so that you only do what you do with your followers. I guess you can keep messaging them.
It's interesting to me because if you look at the other social media platforms, like on LinkedIn, you can see if someone likes something, that will show up on your feed.
True.
On Twitter, the same thing. If someone I'm following likes something, it can show up on my feed.
Yeah, it's part of the natural flow.
Yeah, even with Facebook. And so, when Instagram wanted to come out with not showing any of the likes, that makes sense because, likes can be very superficial and whatnot, but they didn't even really give a reason as to why they hid this. And so, I just think it's strange that out of all of the things to tweak or to change, that was one of them.
Yeah, it definitely plays into tightening up on privacy policies. But going back to all the potential that's now lost, thinking about, because part of the following feed is that it would also group. So if multiple people that you followed like the same Instagram post,
Yes, that's true.
then you could see that, oh, this specific post is really gaining a lot of attraction from people that are in my following or in my network. Or you could see this is a competitor, you know? It really gave you a lot of opportunity to see what your customers and your followers are really resonating with that you're not doing. And we've kind of lost that kind of little sneaky little element, you know, that social listening element. We've kind of lost a piece of that.
Well, and I think, you know, that is a really good point, because if you look at the insights, the actual numbers they provide, they only tell you so much. It's really the behaviors. And like you said, if you've got 8 followers that like this competitor or like this post, either that may be someone that we're always trying to find like-minded people, because it's part of that connection that an audience person has. If they like your brand and like this other brand, you want to try to tie in with that, because ultimately you recognize that your audience has some of the same like-minded traits and interests.
Yeah, it's a community.
Right, and so being able to tap in and see, hey, are we missing this account? Maybe we should be interacting with this account. Or what is my competitor doing that I'm not? And that's learning that you only get from that type of behavior display. Because in the insights, all you get are numbers. Hey, you had this many of this and that many of that, and it doesn't really break down beyond your ages or whatever. But it doesn't really break down the individual posts that were very successful, and we don't see that a lot.
Right, and especially with Instagram, their insights are super vague. Probably the most vague out of all the platforms. I think I have trouble the most translating what those mean as compared to something like Facebook that has very detailed insights. And so I think it's just getting more vague and more vague. So
Yeah.
it's just interesting.
And that following feed was definitely sort of like a Venn diagram, because you kind of have your account and your followers, and you have either a competitor or another account that you have, and then that kind of overlap was where they met, and we could see what was happening that was communal to both of us, you know? So now we have our other tools, but one less tool in our box.
Yeah, no, I love that idea of the Venn diagram. You really do want to see yourself. You know, if you're a upscale watch company, you want to be in the same space as the handbag company, as the shoe company, as the golf club company, as the jewelry, as the luxury car. Like, there's certainly spaces where people can operate, that overlap. And so, interesting. Well, okay, so you mentioned Instagram pulling back the likes, and that's being tried out. It hasn't rolled out everywhere. And now Facebook's picking that up. And again, Facebook owns it, so it's not a surprise that they're using Instagram as its guinea pig. But then, what does that mean if all of a sudden you just lose the ability to see either the like count or who's liking your content?
I think as far as Facebook, it's not as important as it is on Instagram. You know, a lot of Instagram influencers and things like that, their ego goes up when they have a bunch of likes. People don't really interact as much on Facebook. And so I think from a consumer standpoint, if I'm just, networking with my friends, not with businesses, I would like to see who's liking my stuff. But as far as, I don't know, I don't think it's as important as it is as a big of a deal as it would be on Instagram if they took them away.
With that update, because with Instagram, it's just a like. It's not like multiple options of reactions. But with Facebook, they have likes, thumbs up. Oh, that is the like. They have likes, they have smiles, sad, angry faces. So are all those reactions going to be removed, or is
Probably, I would assume so.
I don't know. It's interesting to see, because you're right. All of a sudden they opened it up to give you more authentic options than just the thumbs up.
Yes.
And now it seems like they're going to hide those.
Yes.
And, we get it. Influencers are very polarizing. They can be very good, and they can also be very inauthentic. And I think what the channels deal with is that the influencer that inflates their numbers or that has bogus accounts, and then they're charging people to manage, and now people end up, they get a bad taste for the influencer, but they also get a bad taste for the platform. And so, I don't like Instagram because of this, or I don't like Facebook because of this. And we do encounter a lot of people that have a little distaste for the social media channels, partly because they don't understand them. And if you're a brand and you're a small brand, you want to get out there, and you can't afford to pay a Kardashian or someone else of that status 5-6 figures or more for a post, like, what do you do? And then, you know, you feel like this was a space where I was supposed to be able to operate. And so maybe removing the likes will help. My guess is someone will find a way around it. I don't know.
Yeah, and it also speaks to when you're tapping into influencers that have a presence on Facebook. How do we had the same conversation with Instagram, and then they were announcing this. How do we then know that the numbers that they provide us about their stats, when you're trying to vet them as the right fit for your opportunity or your brand collaboration,
Right.
how do you vet them as, well, your numbers are legitimate? Because before we could say, oh, they say that they get this average amount of likes per post. We could go check that ourselves by looking at their posts and averaging it out. But if we only are relying on the stats that they're providing us, that we can't cross-reference, that just offers up a lot. And it also, because they could before tell us that they get this level of engagement on a post on Facebook, but there's nuance to what type of engagement they're getting based off of the different reactions. You know, they may get 10,000 people interacting with the post, but if it's 10,000 angry faces,
Yeah.
is that something
Right.
that we want to align our brand with? Or is that somebody or a group or a channel that we want to tap into if it's not positive content? So with them removing this element, how does that shape our collaborations and our influencer networking and all sorts of brand networks that we're trying to tap into moving forward?
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see if Facebook fully rolls that out everywhere. I know they picked various countries to try it out.
Mhm.
We don't seem to get much of that here in the United States. I think Instagram was a rollout to maybe 7 or 11 countries where they did that. And there was a lot of complaints at the time. I don't know. I mean, one thing we always recommend to people is, and will you have this information? I assume internally you will have it, but then you won't be able to, the audience will be able to see what likes you get. Make sure that engagement rate is good. I don't know how many times
Yeah.
we've looked at a brand that has 30,000 followers and they get 28 likes or 79 likes. Like, you know, 1% is something that people should shoot for. And so if they've got 30,000 followers, you know, they should at least have 300 likes. And that's pretty low. But we see some weird numbers. And so, you know, businesses are smart to be a little bit skeptical. And that's why they work with us, because we vet people like that.
Right.
All right, so a couple other items in the news. TikTok, speaking of authentic, TikTok has gotten themselves in a little bit of hot water by using their content from their users in ads. And that's the most authentic content you can get as long as you have permission, right?
Right. Yeah.
What do you think about that? We're very careful about what we use and everything. What do you guys think about platforms, even if it's in somewhere buried in the terms of service, which you said you found?
Right, I have it right here. It's in the terms of service. I think this got so much uproar and people are upset because it's a younger crowd for sure. I don't think, I mean, and you know, I guess they don't really understand, but I mean, I see TikTok ads a lot on Twitter and Snapchat. So if I went on there and I saw a video of myself, I would for sure be a little freaked out. And I always see the same video, and it's these 4 guys dancing. It's the same video every single time. So it makes sense why they'd be upset. But I mean, I do agree with you. Using user-generated content for your ads is going to be the most authentic, and I think it's the most efficient and successful. But at the same time, you know, people are becoming influencers on TikTok, and if they don't read into it and they just, you know, see the surprise that they're on their ads, it kind of ruins that relationship. And with TikTok trying to build, you know, this big platform right now, and they're trying to get celebrities on it now, and just, you know, this like slow growth, I think those relationships are really important. So I don't know,
Yeah, it definitely opens up more questions. Again, this is a very provocative post because, you know, all of these platforms have terms and conditions, and they have probably a lot of unfavorable things written in those terms and conditions regarding what they can do and cannot do with our content. But if we're being realistic and reflecting on actual user behavior and real life behavior, how many people actually read our terms and
I've never
conditions?
read one.
Read any of them, go through
Yeah.
the weeds, see if you have a question, Google. Nobody, well, I shouldn't say nobody, but the average person does not. They just click, I accept, just so that they can get through the signing up process and they just get to posting. So I think this begs a big question about how the FCC and other organizations and how laws will shape to catch up to these sorts of practices where companies are taking our user-generated content and using it as ads for profit, even though it's nestled in their terms and conditions, is it going to become a law where it has to be more prominently placed, where they have to have it pulled out, kind of like highlighted from the terms and conditions so that it's front and center for us to see before we accept to use this platform? Or is it going to cause enough uproar that they're going to have to pull that back and retract on doing that and remove that, and that they no longer have access to our content in that fashion? Because I feel like I read something about this with Facebook was doing something like this years ago, no?
I'm not sure. I think, the difference with TikTok is,
it's the
when you make the age thing, and like it's, when you make a video and it goes viral, it's literally all over the place. I feel like with most ads that are user-generated content, it's not viral videos. It's not things that have gone really big, and so I think maybe that's why. But it's just funny, like in their terms and conditions, they put, you hereby grant TikTok a royalty-free, non-exclusive, worldwide, unrestricted, and sub-licensed license to reproduce, distribute, publicly display, communicate to the public, blah, blah, blah. It just goes on. So they're aware that these videos can get very popular, and they're going to use them anyways, so.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, I don't remember what your source is for this, but I love this
This is Social Media Today.
Oh, Social Media Today, okay. Their line is perfect. While it may not be breaking laws, while it's not breaking laws, it could be damaging its relationship with creators. And that is a big thing. Creators they're a herd. And when they want to go somewhere, I totally can't think of, remember the thing that launched about a year ago and was going to be the next place to be, and everyone was like grabbing usernames, and then it completely fell apart?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's totally escaping me. But creators, they like being with each other, and if they decide, if they decide quickly to go, they will drop it like a hot rock, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no question. And so that will be interesting to see. And I think one of the other things we see, Olivia, you brought up a point about regulations. You look up, you watch TV now, and they used to have ads all over the place, especially medical ads, and now they have to put actor portrayal on there because people weren't sure, was the guy having chest pains really a guy that had a heart attack and this medicine saved him, or is this guy an actor? And so it will be, I always say it'll be interesting. It's always interesting what we do because it's changing, like you said. They've got to just keep catching up, and by the time they shut down one thing, 9 other things have sprouted up.
It's very retroactive.
Yeah, it really is. So interesting, and then that's a good segue. You said YouTube was a good creator studio, and so one of the things we saw today, a Piper Jeffrey study just came out today that said that YouTube for teens is more popular than Netflix, and they looked at the numbers, and 37% of teens said that their top platform of choice for consuming content was YouTube. The next was Netflix at 35%. And the study was quick to point out that, look, Netflix is much larger than Hulu or any of those other competitors out there, but YouTube is the place to be, and it's like you said, it's the creators, right? It's a spot where it has everything. And one of the things that it signaled out, at least with the teen audience, is the diversity in content. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of video game playthroughs, a lot of music videos, mm-hmm. a lot of how-to videos. Mm-hmm. And I think beyond the entertainment factor, there's the learning factor. Now people can go on and learn how to play a chord of a guitar, learn how to say some languages.
Well, it's actually pretty funny because this reminds me of what I did this past weekend. So I was sitting at home and I was going through Netflix and I couldn't find anything that I liked. Mm-hmm. And so I went on YouTube and I started looking at these makeup gurus, and I had bought in a new eyeshadow palette. And so I looked up the Chris Jeffree Star who makes his eyeshadow palette, and he tries every single color and then he does a look. And so these are like a bunch of different videos. So he makes a series on just this one makeup product, and then he makes a series about his life, just day to day. He makes a series, partying with another YouTube star. There are playlists and series on series just with this one user.
Great
and
creative,
so,
right?
yeah, I was just hooked for hours, all because I bought this one eyeshadow palette and I wanted to see how he used it, though, So I can't find that on Netflix. There's interesting things on Netflix, of course. I watch TV and movies all the time, but with YouTube, it's so different because you can get one creator and they can segue into so many different types of pieces of content that, even if they're a makeup person, they could talk about their lives for videos on, going on forever, and people will, there's millions of views. Yeah. So I think that's just the diversity on there of the content, like you were saying, and so many different people, and a lot of them collab with each other all the time. That's a big thing, you know. So
True.
YouTube's a very creative space, so I don't see, that doesn't surprise me that they're mostly on YouTube.
Yeah, and speaking to the diversity of the content, I think it also speaks to not just the diversity in the genre of content, but the level of profession.
Yes.
There are some very, like, in my bedroom, just put up my iPhone and I start recording off the cuff, very raw and in the moment. And then you have people that are doing full-on TV show productions. So if you want something that is of Netflix quality, you can find something like that on YouTube. Or if you want something that's a little bit more relatable, or for example, when you're looking at palettes or makeup reviews, and hey, I know this person's got a lot of money and they have this nice palette, but I kind of want to see what the girl like me that just kind of saved up the past 2 weeks paycheck so that they could buy this, and see what their interaction is, because they'll have a different experience with that product, and I can get that entertainment value from them, that relatability from them, that authenticity from them, that unbiased content. So there's just so much that you can get on YouTube, and you know, there's a lot on Netflix, but it will always be of a professional quality, and it's limiting. At the end of the day, you know, shows are on there, then shows get taken off.
Yeah.
They have content on there, then their series ends, you know, whereas it seems with YouTube that it's almost limitless.
It really is.
And I
And what's
think
there.
as far as, you know, that sense of authenticity that everyone values on social media, you really see on YouTube as well. Like, I listen to a bunch of podcasts, and a lot of them have, they film their podcasts too, and they'll put it on YouTube. So I can see face-to-face a comedian or whoever it is, you know, interacting with their guests and whatnot. Like, that's so authentic to me, and I'm not going to find that on a Netflix series, so.
And then you have the added element of being able to leave a comment or engage with the video if you wish to. And I know for me, even though sometimes you really have to be cautious about those YouTube comment sections, but at least if you really just want to take a temperature in the room, like, you could check to see what the comments are beneath the video, and that adds another level of authenticity and interactivity to the video and the content that you're watching.
Yeah, I
It's
also,
not just
when
being
I'm on
talked to.
YouTube, I always look, like, if it's a topic or something that I, you know, or I haven't watched this user before, I look at how many views that video got. I do that a lot. So see, you know, how popular it actually is. You can't do that on Netflix.
Exactly. There's just so many extra elements.
Well, and I think I consume video, being a little older, I consume video a little differently. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to YouTube for the how-tos, whether that's to change the sink, change some kind of filter in my dryer, put some adhesive on a car, like whatever it is. Like, I've always found my answer, and you're right. A lot of times I value the auto mechanic who is dirtied up and gets on his back and takes you different angles, and he makes a real attempt, he or she makes a real attempt at providing information that's valuable to me, and it doesn't have the full lighting and great, you know, 4K resolution or whatever, but it's still quality content. And like you said, I think limitless is the great word for YouTube. And so it makes total sense to me. My 8-year-old spends hours and hours a day on YouTube. Good thing or bad thing, I don't know yet. But if he emerges a genius, I guess I'll be happy. But all right, so, you know, it's interesting. Our title on the screen says landing pages and the social media channels for your business. I think this has been a good segue because we've really covered all of the social media channels. And if you are a smart business owner out there, you've probably picked out some pieces of what you can and can't use from each channel. And Olivia, you can talk pretty quickly about some of the industries and how they're using each channel. And I know you manage some clients that are on various channels, and they change from client to client.
Yeah, so as with anything with your business, there isn't a one-size-fits-all approach. You have to see what are your business's goals, and then see what marketing efforts and marketing strategies align with your business's goals. So, for example, that one element of checking your objectives is starting with what type of business are you and what industry are you in, because that can really dictate where your audience is. And with social media, you always want to go where the conversations are being had. You want to go to where your audience already lives. Instead of having to kind of dig for them, you want to just be where they are so that they can interact and find you. So that will differ. So for example, with Facebook, we have clients. We like to use Facebook with clients that perhaps lifestyle clients like that have like a chamber of commerce, or for example, different tourism areas. They can be very active. People can go, they can check in, they can see what sort of things to do are there on Facebook. Whereas a company such as a news or tech industry company, they may want to be on Twitter because that's more text-based and that's more information-based in terms of passing quick little bits of information and keeping up to date on news. So it really depends on your industry and what you are trying to sell to your customer. For example, beauty does very well on visual platforms such as Instagram and YouTube because of what you can show, especially if you have products on Instagram. That is a platform to be, especially if you have beautiful products, whether it's design like furniture or interior, or whether that may be beauty little things in your hand, because you can really show the product and show it in settings and then also create a story around your product with the lifestyle photos that you take. So it really just depends on your industry, and that will dictate what platforms you want to be in. So just to give you a little rundown, some great industries for Facebook will be banking, beauty, community/city government, entertainment, fitness, food and beverage, law firms, local businesses, nonprofits, retail, real estate, travel, and wellness. Some of that overlaps. For example, with Instagram, you may want to, Instagram will be a great place for you if you're in automotive, beauty, community, fashion, fitness, food and beverage, real estate, travel, and wellness. Twitter is good for accounting, banking, beauty. Some of these are in all the spots.
Yeah.
Government, legal, nonprofits, wellness, tech, travel, and wellness. And then LinkedIn, banking, a lot of the traditional professional fields, banking, business, employment, finance, fitness, healthcare, legal, nonprofits, real estate, technology, and wellness. So start with what you do and what industry you are in, and then go from there.
Yeah, I think it's important not to spread yourself too thin when it comes to social media, because, you know, sometimes businesses freak out. They're like, oh, I don't know anything about digital marketing, so I'm just going to put an account on every single platform. And you're not going to get the best results that way. And so I think even just focusing on your two strongest ones, and really honing in and making a good strategy that way, you'll get a lot more success.
I think it's one thing to go out and grab the handle. We always talk about having consistent handles. And so, yes, do not try to put the square into the round hole. It just won't work. And you don't need to be everywhere. If you want to reserve, if you have, I'm pulling this up, Plant Incorporated or whatever, you could go out and try to get Plant Inc. on every single platform, and then at least have those channels, and then decide where's your audience. Like Olivia said, it really is like, what kind of content can we create that will be meaningful for the people, and are they even there? The people we want to reach, are they even there? So if you're unsure, feel free to give us a call. We love talking to businesses about what they're currently doing on social media, what they could be doing. We love creating strategies, whether we execute them or not. It's just, you don't have to be everywhere, and sometimes it is better off, like Ivana said, to start slow with a couple. And YouTube's one where you may take 3 or 4 months of making content and then decide videos are a thing and go through a bunch of video, and you start adding in YouTube. So we do it in stages sometimes. It's not a flip of a switch and all the lights in the baseball park are on. If you only need the lights in one section, put them there for an hour, 2 sections. So think of it that way. Last item we're talking about today is our landing pages, and all of this, when you do social media, you do e-communications, e-newsletter, you run ads, you want to be able to send your audience to a place that accomplishes what you want them to. You want to give them value, but you also want them to take the next step in that relationship with you. And so a landing page is a great place for that. And it's different. A lot of people say, well, what's a landing page versus a page on my home site? Your home site's really information, allows them to click around. You may have a call to action like call us now or whatever, but it's typically pretty generic for the one thing that you're trying to do. If you do home loans, great. You have a home loans page if you're a mortgage banker or whatever, a loan officer. But if you, let's say that you have special veteran programs, or you have special programs that are for buyers, first-time buyers, you would want a page that specifically talks to that. And so Ivana's going to really lead in and talk about like why landing pages are important and how you can utilize them for your business.
Yeah, we'll go over this quickly because I know we're running out of time. But yeah, landing pages I think are really important, especially for businesses who are trying to sell a specific thing, or if they have a specific service, or maybe at a specific event, something that's really detailed and they want to hone in on a certain target audience or something like that, that And it's also something that your website can't provide, so this landing page is going to have more detail on the ad, and it's basically an extension of your ad, if you think about it. And so the first thing to create a good, successful landing page is having a relevant call to action on the landing page. With most of our ads, sometimes we try out different call to actions, see what's really going to stick with the audience. And so it's important when you go onto the landing page that you don't have necessarily the exact same call to action, but something a little similar, maybe something a little more lengthy, kind of explain a little bit more, but just something to kind of get them, to keep them going, whether you're going to direct them to a contact form or a different page on the website or to purchase something. It's good to have that call to action that matches the ad campaign.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is appeal to the ad's target audience. So this one I think is probably one of the most important pieces of it. Your ads aren't going to appeal to everyone. That's just a normal thing. That's how it goes. And so, if you're going to have, say, if I'm trying to sell high heels, the landing page has to, it has to match, the target audience. So it can't just be targeting, a random guy who likes sneakers. It has to be about women who like high heels as well. So just making sure the creatives and the copy and everything, the same kind of feel you're getting from the ad is going to resonate as well onto the landing page. And then the third one is to match the offer to the ad. And so just, making sure you catch your audience's attention quickly and just giving the rest of the information that they didn't get from the ad. Your direct, once they click on the ad, they're obviously interested, and so just giving them that last piece of important information that they would need to hook them in.
Yeah, I think the one thing that you said is really important is if you're running an ad for shoes and your demo audience is 21 to 27 or something, they're only going to wear the shoes, or maybe it's a blouse, making sure that landing page has those people 21 to 27 on that page. If you have someone that's 55, they're going to get there and they're going to have a disconnect. And so really trying to keep things harmonious and even using the language because the way that 20-year-olds talk is different than the way that 50-year-olds talk. And so just like the way a bank talks versus a makeup company. And so making sure you're consistent, that's the problem sometimes with people who farm out their ads to someone else and they're not writing the copy for the website or for the landing page. You have two completely different voices there. And that can be a big conflict and a disconnect for the viewer. And you want them to be interested. Oh, I got to get to the next step. And you don't want them to get there and go, oh, this isn't what I was expecting. So good pointers. All right. Well, I think this concludes our time today. The tripod hung in there. The UPS man tried to stop us, but the broadcast kept going.
Yep.
And so here we are. We've wrapped up another edition of Social Media Help Desk. My name's Jeff, along with Olivia and Ivana. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave your comments on this Facebook post. Also, a reminder, we have some video studio days coming up in Atlanta and in San Diego. So please check our website for that. You can visit our website. It's KWSMdigital.com, and you'll find information about our video studio days. This is a great opportunity if you can't afford a full production at your office or a full production anywhere. For a fraction of the cost, we have appointments where you can come in and you will be on camera. You will have a teleprompter, or we can have someone ask you questions, and we will provide you in this 30-minute time slot, when it's all said and done, 3 to 4 45-second videos. And you can use these on your website, you can use these on a YouTube page and your social media. And so they're a very helpful and cost-effective tool for business owners who don't have a huge marketing budget but want to get in that video space. And we all know video is so important. It's preferred by the platforms and it really resonates with audience. We just said 37% of teens prefer YouTube over any other platform, and that's all they're getting there is video. So it's the main way for consumption, and so it's a great opportunity if you don't have that capability or the budget to fit it. Check us out. Anyway, thanks for joining us, and have a great week.